Some big breaking news coming in on Army helicopter crash in Coonoor. In fact, this is the big news that we're tracking. Army helicopter has crashed at Coonoor district in Tamil Nadu. 3 rescued so far, 3 of them rescued with serious injuries and taken to Wellington base. The search is currently on for the 4th personnel. The CDS was on board the chopper that crashed. CDS Bipin Rawat was on board as well. Absolute tragedy that's now been reported from Coonoor. Army helicopter crash at Coonoor. 3 rescued so far. 3 of them rescued with serious injuries and taken to Wellington base. The search currently on for the 4th personnel. From what we hear, CDS General Bipin Rawat also was on board the chopper. Army chopper crashes in Coonoor, Tamil Nadu. Now, the reason for the crash is yet to be known. Let me quickly cut across to Pramod joining us for more. Pramod, what do we know about this Army chopper crash? Who was in that chopper and what really resulted in this crash in Coonoor? We believe one of them still missing.
Well, so far we got in visual confirmation that the crash has occurred in a location called Coonoor in Nilgiris district. This is also close to the Wellington base as well, and rescue personnel have reached the spot and army officials have also reached the spot. As for preliminary information, 3 people have been rescued so far and search is on for others as well. We're not exactly sure how many people were traveling in that helicopter because we are also getting information that there were 14 personnel, but we're trying to confirm it so far. 3 have been rescued with serious burn injuries and have been taken to the hospital, and as we speak, the rescue operations is continuing over there. The only trouble is that this is a complete hilly region and it's extremely difficult for the officials to go over there, but they're trying their best to actually rescue the people at the spot. And the initial reason it's been given is that the entire area is covered in mist, so that is also being investigated currently.
If you could take us through, CDS General Bipin Rawat, we believe, was also on board the chopper when it crashed. Any word on how he's doing? What's his condition like?
We are trying to speak with the officials in Tamil Nadu, especially the army personnel, and so far we haven't got any information on that. We are awaiting for a confirmation from the army personnel in Tamil Nadu, especially about Bipin Rawat.
Right, we do know, Pramod, that it is a very foggy, misty area there. Coonoor, one of the coldest regions in south of India, located in Tamil Nadu, very next attached to Ooty. We well understood that there must be fog and it must have been difficult for the chopper to maneuver. But what was the chopper doing on that area of Coonoor? What exactly was this operation that was being carried out? Was it a test chopper ride or what was it?
Well, for now, this looks like a sortie, and in that, as we said earlier, there is a Wellington base as well. So regular sorties occur over there, and we also have Sulur base over there, where we have the LCA Tejas as well. So regular sorties occur at the spot, but the mission for this particular sortie has not yet been revealed by the army personnel. We are just waiting for their for them to provide some information. But everyone is actually concentrating on rescuing the personnel at this location, and that's the reason we are not able to reach anyone at this point.
Right. Do we know exactly, Pramod, where has this chopper crashed into? Were there civilians on ground? Was it an area that was populated? Where exactly has this chopper crashed?
This is actually completely hilly spot called as Casualty in Coonoor, and this is where the crash has occurred so far. And as we could see, it was a complete. The officials have reached the spot. They have there is burning debris across the place, and they are going around. It's completely filled with trees and bushes. It's becoming extremely difficult for them, but everyone is over there, and they are trying to rescue the people as soon as possible. So far, there is no information about any civilian losing life as such. Officials are there, and they have made sure that people are being rescued as soon as possible.
Right. It looks horrific. In fact, Pramod, we're looking at a blaze, fire raging on in that area where the chopper has crashed. Is the chopper completely burnt down? What's the situation? How bad was this crash? We believe 3 of them have been saved, but they have incurred grave injuries.
It surely is, and that's the kind of shocking and unfortunate part, because we could see the debris actually in various areas, including treetops and things as well, and certain people's bodies are being moved in clothes as well. As we speak, the army personnel are taking the people, rescuing them from that area, and they're moving it. It is an extremely unfortunate incident that has occurred at this spot, and as far as we can see, the chopper seems to be completely burnt out, and the preliminary kind of like action currently is to save as much as possible, and that's what the officials over there are trying to do so currently.
Well, Pramod, if you can reiterate, any civilians on ground have been hurt? This is a hilly region, but were there residences around the vicinity?
So far, like, we have no information about any civilians concurring injury or any kind of this thing so far, because it looks like the chopper has crashed near a hilltop region and the debris has fallen close to settlements. But so far, there is no report of any damage or injury to any civilians so far. We are waiting for further inputs on this matter.
Well, Pramod, I'd still like you to try and delve into whether or not CDS General Bipin Rawat was on board and how is he doing? What have the officials as of now said to you?
Well, so like we are trying to reach the officials, and they have said like all they are trying to currently do is reach the spot and rescue the people, and they are on this matter. But the situation looks extremely grim as far as we could see the visuals over there. The army staffs are not ready to provide any information so far. They just want to rescue people as much as possible and then provide information to us. We specifically asked about General Bipin Rawat being in it, and confirmation we are awaiting on it.
Well, Pramod, we know that 3 of them who were on that helicopter have been grievously injured. Any word or health update or bulletin that's coming from the Wellington base?
We also got information that there could be at least 14 people who were flying in that chopper as well. So that's what we are waiting for information on this matter. Wellington base is also not yet provided information, but all we know is that the people who are being rescued are taken to the hospitals close by to provide them with immediate attention and treatment.
Right. Stay with us, Pramod. Let me quickly cut across to Shiv Arur, joining us from the newsroom. Shiv, really serious case of a chopper crash where it looks like that chopper has gutted down a blaze that's now erupting from that area, the spot where it's crashed. And we believe that 4 people have been rescued. I mean, 3 people out of the 4 have been rescued. One of them still missing. CDS General Bipin Rawat could be on board as well, but no word is yet on how he's doing.
No information just yet. This is a serious story that has taken over our coverage right now, Nabila, and I'm going to take our viewers through what we know so far. We do know that this helicopter, we're not sure of exactly what type. This helicopter went down just a short while ago in Coonoor in Tamil Nadu. This is a hilly region, in the Nilgiris mountains. The Coonoor area is where the Defence Services Staff College is located. Where officers go for a higher courses. In the hills of Tamil Nadu, and this helicopter crashed somewhere near there in Coonoor, near the Coonoor Wellington area in the Tamil Nadu mountains. The pilots were on board, and we understand that there were 3 senior officers, including the Chief of Defence Staff. Our India Today's Manjeet Negi confirms that Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat was one of the persons on board that helicopter. The condition of the persons on board is not known. The information we're getting from the ground from our reporters so far is that 3 people have been moved injured to a medical facility. One person is still missing in the crash site, and the search is on to actually find that person. The reasons for this crash, how it happened, the circumstances are not known at this point of time, but we do know, as we can see in the images that our viewers have on their screens, that this was a pretty serious crash. It was not a crash landing. You can tell from the images that the entire wreckage has caught fire, and that there is pretty much nothing left on the ground over there. So we're waiting till we can get more clarity on the condition of the persons on board. There are prayers coming in from all sides. 3 top defense officials, including the Chief of Defense Staff, our reporter Manjeet Negi confirms, were on the helicopter at this point of time. I want to bring in Akshaya Nath, who's also tracking the story very closely from Chennai. She's in touch with her sources on the ground in Wellington and Coonoor. Akshaya, what more can you tell us? Manjeet, our colleague, confirming that Chief of Defence Staff is one of the passengers who was on board that helicopter. Any further information? It's a sensitive issue, but any further information about the condition of the occupants of the helicopter?
Well, Shiv, we are a team of reporters who report only sensitive information. So right now, let me just tell you the information that we have in hand is that Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat was on board the helicopter which crashed in Coonoor in Tamil Nadu. and at present 3 people have been seriously injured and they have been sent to the Wellington Kent hospital, and at the moment we are being told that 1 more personnel is being searched for, and the entire situation panned out because of the poor weather is what we are being told at this point of time, Shiv. Most importantly, we need to remember the Chief of Defence Staff, Bipin Rawat, was on board, is the confirmation that we have got from a colleague itself. So at the moment, it is a very sensitive situation and we're waiting for more information to come from official sources. But so far, we get to know that 3 people have been rescued and all of them are very seriously injured and have been sent to the Wellington Kent hospital, and that is also an army-based hospital there. So it is going to be something that we'll have to wait and watch, Shiv, but it is a very shocking information that is coming from Tamil Nadu at this point of time. Chief of Defence Staff, Bipin Rawat, was on board. There is no clarity on who are the 3 personnel who have been rescued so far. We've been told that the search operation for 1 more person is underway, and fingers are crossed, prayers are on, and all the hands are on the field right now to ensure that every person who was on board is brought out and the best of treatment is given to them.
I just want to, Akshay, I want to through the images that your team has just sent us from the ground in Coonoor. From the images that you can see on your screen, viewer, you can see that this was not a crash landing. It was a crash. The entire wreckage is on fire. I'm going to hazard a guess that this helicopter looks to me like a Mi-17, looks to me like an Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopter, but I'm not going to be conclusive on that because that information is still coming in. You can see some locals who are on the ground, trying to manage the crash site. You can see a man with a bucket trying to put out some of those flames. This is a crash. This is a helicopter that has definitely crashed. It's not a crash landing. You can see the mangled mess of the metal, on the ground over there. The whole thing is on fire. So this is a helicopter that went down with a great degree of impact, and therefore it's not surprising that serious injuries are reported to have been inflicted on the persons on board. India Today's Manjeet Negi reporting that Chief of Defence Staff was also on board that helicopter. If you're wondering why the Chief of Defence Staff was in a helicopter in Wellington in Tamil Nadu, that is the site where the Army's Defence Services Staff College is. It's a tri-services military institution where officers go for their higher command courses. It's a very prestigious institution, and the Chief of Defence Staff is likely to have been visiting there, as senior officers often do. So 2 images on your screen right now, ladies and gentlemen, of the crash site in Coonoor where this helicopter went down. It's a sensitive story. I'm going to be very careful, as we always are here on India Today, to only give you information that has been corroborated by our team on the ground. Now, there could be a variety of reasons why this helicopter actually went down. I'm not going to try and hazard a guess because there are many, many different complications that are possible for a helicopter to go down. But the Indian Air Force, the Indian Army have extremely qualified pilots. So this must have been some kind of catastrophic technical or mechanical failure or weather-related incident that has caused this very, very upsetting accident that involves security forces personnel, including the senior-most serving military officer in the country right now, the Chief of Defence Staff, General Bipin Rawat. Remember, he happens to be the first Chief of Defence Staff. And the images on your ground suggest that the injuries have been serious. They've apparently been shifted to a military hospital nearby. Wellington is a very well-equipped military establishment in the Tamil Nadu Nilgiris hills where this incident has taken place. And we are awaiting word. We are awaiting word both from the Ministry of Defence as well as from Wellington on site, the police and other agencies on the ground, to give us a sense of what has happened. Please bear with us, viewer, because I can tell you that we will not jump the gun on any information. We will be as sensitive as possible because this is a story that has to be told as carefully as possible. It involves the senior-most military official of the country. It involves security personnel. It involves a military asset, the Mi-17 helicopter that went down, and it involves, many other sensitivities surrounding this entire accident, especially when there are so many unknowns. I'm going to try and get our reporter back on the line. If we still have Akshay on the line. Okay, Akshaya is still with me on the line. I'm going to try and get in Nagarjun, our other reporter. We also have Pramod and many of our other reporters, Ashish, all of them in the neighboring areas who are tracking the story very closely. And India Today has a team and a network of reporters on the ground who are getting you these images. And I promise you, we'll keep you updated on that. Akshaya, what are your sources on the ground telling you? In these images, we can see some locals, trying to aid in the effort to put out the fire. Any specific information on where the injured personnel have been taken? And we are told that one person from inside the helicopter is still missing.
Well, Shiv, we've been told that 3 people were rescued from the burning debris, and all 3 of them are in very serious condition and have been taken to the Wellington hospital. There is a base there. That is where they've been taken for treatment currently, is what we've been told by our sources. And one more person is there on board, and search operations are underway for the 4th person also, is what we're being told by our sources in the location. And well, you can see that this happened in the upper regions of Coonoor. And it is being told that the weather condition was not that great there and could have contributed for the kind of accident that has happened. These are the preliminary information that we are getting, Shiv. And from our confirmations, we've also been told that the chief of Army Staff, Bipin Rawat, was also there on the flight. But we need to know on what and who were all the people who have been rescued so far and what their condition is. The clarity on these information is still, very dicey. And we're being told that all necessary precautionary steps are being taken to ensure that everybody who is there on the boat, are rescued at this point in time. So we need to wait for more information. But at the moment, we know that 3 people who are in a very critical condition have been rescued from the debris.
The debris definitely suggests a crash of this helicopter. We have a confirmation now from our sources on the ground that this helicopter was flying between Coimbatore and Sulur. Coimbatore and Sulur are both cantonment towns. Sulur has a large Indian Army cantonment as well as a large Indian Air Force base. It's very close to the Nilgiris hills where the Wellington Defence Services Staff College is. There are many different military establishments, ladies and gentlemen, in that area where the Chief of Defence Staff may have been travelling. We are told some of his family members may have also been on that helicopter along with him. This was an Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopter. That's a confirmation that we have. I'm also going to tell our producers, Mi-17 helicopter on board, Chief of Defence Staff. The condition of the people on board is not confirmed just yet. We're going to get that in just a moment. There are prayers pouring in from all sides at this point of time. Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat is India's first, the highest military post in the country right now. The circumstances in which this helicopter may have gone down is not known. We're being flooded by questions by our viewers on social media about how something like this could have happened. We are trying to get more information. I can tell you that a crash inquiry will be going into every last aspect of it. But right now, our priority is on the condition and the safety of the pilots and the passengers on board that helicopter, which we were the first to confirm to you include Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat. I'm going to get more of our reporters in on this. I'm also going to show you more pictures of precisely what the crash site looks like. Once again, just taking you through what we're seeing on air. This Mi-17 helicopter, that's the mangled metal you see on your screen are the remnants of the helicopter which has crashed. It's completely on fire at this point of time. It has been completely gutted and destroyed in this post-crash fire. The reasons for it having gone down are not known just yet, but all we can say is this was a catastrophic accident, but the condition of the people on board is not yet known. Remember, when an aircraft goes down, there are possibilities of people surviving because it can glide down to the ground, but when a helicopter falls out of the sky, it simply falls by the force of gravity, and there's very, very little chance, of people escaping without serious injuries. That's one thing we can confirm, that serious injuries have definitely happened. The condition of Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat is not known. We will not conjecture on that at this point of time. News agency ANI reports that some of his family members were also on board. This must have been an official visit. The Chief of Defence Staff is entitled to the use, of course, of military assets to get from one place to the other. This must have been an official visit. We're going to get that information for you also in just a moment from now. Akshaya continues to be with me. I'm also going to get you more images from the ground of what this crash site looks like. We've got two separate images. Let me show you the two separate images that we have at this point of time, depicting and covering the entire crash site. The first image is the one you see with the people trying to put out the fire. The other, also taken from a mobile phone camera, appears to be from a slightly upper reach on that hillside where this helicopter has impacted into the ground. It seems to be an area with some kind of high altitude terrain somewhere near the hills. There are lots of hills near very close to the Sulur Coimbatore area. That's where the Nilgiris hills of Tamil Nadu actually start, and that's where this helicopter appears to have completely impacted the terrain. We don't know if it was a controlled crash, we don't know if it was a catastrophic failure, or from what altitude this helicopter has actually come down. Ashish Pandey, the reporter who brought this news to us first, is also with me live on this. He joins me on the story. Ashish, what are you hearing from the ground? We can confirm that this is an Indian Air Force Mi-17 helicopter that has crashed. It's a medium lift helicopter, very, very common sight for all kind of airlift operations. It's the helicopter that's used by all Indian VIPs and top officials to get from one place to the other in the military as well. What are your sources telling you? Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat was definitely on board as you first reported, Ashish. What more are you hearing?
Yes, like you mentioned that we are hearing from our sources on ground, and they are telling us not a good news, in fact, from the ground. This particular helicopter, Mi-17, like you mentioned, it took off from Sulur Air Base from Tamil Nadu to Wellington in Coonoor. Near Nilgiris, over the Nilgiris mountains, it crashed. Now the search and rescue operations are on. Several teams of Army, Air Force, as well as local administration, they have rushed to the location. They are providing all kind of assistance. Locals were the first responder. That's what we are hearing. Locals were the first responder at the crash site. They started rescuing all the people. However, due to the impact of this particular crash, the helicopter caught fire, and all those occupants of all those who were on board in this helicopter, they suffered serious injuries. What we are hearing that apart from Chief of Defence Staff, General Rawat, a few family members as well as a few other army staff were on board in this chopper. This chopper crashed over Nilgiris mountain in a thick forest range near a house, and the debris caught fire. Now search and rescue operations are on. So far, no official word we have received from the defence side or army side, but yes, it is confirmed that General Rawat and his family members were on board in this chopper. This chopper took off from Sulur Air Base around noon. It was heading to Wellington in Coonoor. When over Nilgiris mountain range, it crashed ship.
Okay, it has crashed into the Coonoor mountains just a short while ago between Coimbatore and Sulur Air Force Base, where this helicopter was apparently headed. The details of General Bipin Rawat's itinerary are not known at this point of time, but we'll have them on your screens in just a moment from now. All we can tell you right now is that serious injuries have been sustained by the persons on board. We understand that General Bipin Rawat has also sustained injuries. It's very unlikely that he wouldn't have sustained injuries in a crash of this intensity, but we will not conjecture on his condition right now until we hear it from the ground. So please trust us to give you only accurate information. We will not sensationalize a story of this kind. It already is a terrible, terrible story to report. But our reporters on the ground are only going to get you the facts. I just quickly want to list for you the possibilities of what may have caused this crash. This is a Mi-17 helicopter flown by one of the best, the best team of pilots in the world right now. And these pilots, there may have been bad weather, there may have been a technical failure, there may have been an engine failure, there may have been anything else at this point of time that may have caused the crash. Our sources are telling India Today's Akshaya Nath that there were 9 people on board that helicopter. Remember, the Mi-17 is a helicopter that can hold at least 20 people, if not more. And on this occasion, we understand that there were 9 people on board that helicopter. So that's a large number of persons. 3 people have been rescued with injuries and sent to a hospital. But there is no word just yet. Very distressing to note that there is no word yet on the others. News agency ANI has reported that General Bipin Rawat was on board along with some senior officers as well as some members of his family. We don't know yet if his wife was also on board, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat, but we do understand, but we do know. Okay, we've got the Indian Air Force's statement that's just come out. An Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter. Here's the statement that's just come out from the Indian Air Force. They've just announced and confirmed to us that an Indian Air Force Mi-17 V5 helicopter with Chief of Defence Staff General Bipin Rawat on board has met with an accident today near Coonoor, Tamil Nadu. An inquiry has been ordered to ascertain the cause of the accident. So that's a first confirmation on the news that India Today broke just an hour ago, that Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat was on board this helicopter. That's the information that the Indian Air Force is putting out on its official Twitter handle, confirming the worst. They've confirmed that Chief of Defence Staff was on board that helicopter. No word in this tweet on his condition. That information is still going to be coming out from the ground in just a moment from now. It was a Mi-17, like India Today told you, a Mi-17 V5, which happens to be actually one of the latest variants of this particular helicopter that's actually crashed at this point of time. The Indian Air Force will be putting out even more information, we are told, in a short while from now to give us a sense of what may have happened. Before I tell you a little bit more about the situation, ladies and gentlemen, we're in a newsroom where everybody is now tuned to this particular story. I just also want to tell our viewers that crash investigators will already be on site to give us a sense of what may have happened. But that investigation is going to take a much longer time. Information that 2 people have been confirmed dead in this crash. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 people have reportedly been found dead at the crash site, is the information that we're getting at this point of time. I'm going to keep these images on your screen right now because we are getting a confirmation that 14 people were on board this helicopter and 2 people have been confirmed dead in this helicopter crash. So 14 people on board, 2 people dead at this point of time. No confirmation on the identities of the 2 people who have died so far. The others have all sustained serious injuries. All of them have been either shifted to a hospital or are still being searched for at the crash site. Nagarjun Dwarkanath continues to be with me. Ashish and Akshaya also reporting on this terrible story that we're bringing to you here on India Today. Stay tuned for more on this. Naga, what are you hearing? I mean, 2 people dead, 14 persons, including Chief of Defence Staff, on board this Mi-17 V5 helicopter. The crash site, look at the pictures, Naga. The crash site suggests that this was a high-intensity impact into the ground. There's a big post-crash fire. There's nothing left. There's a mangled heap of metal. This was a very serious accident.
Well, true, Shiv. In fact, the tragic incident seems like, the preliminary pictures and videos that we have received, it seems like it was a high-impact crash. The chopper was at a high speed and it has impacted or collided with the ground or the trees there. And remember, this is also a hilly area, and so the service ceiling of the flight will also be high. So the helicopter might be flying, say, about 8,000 feet to 10,000 feet or 7,000 feet and above, because it's a hilly area. The ground width or the space between the ground and the aircraft will have to be at least 2,000 to 3,000 feet above the ceiling area. So they would be flying around 7,000 to 10,000 feet, but it seems like there was a high impact at this point of time, because the metal, the wreckage seems like the body has completely dislodged. The fuel has burnt up. The fire is on. And also, it's a Mi-17 has 2 pilots and one engineer compulsory on board. So whenever the flight take off, there's compulsory 2 pilots flying the Mi-17 chopper. So it can't be that it was just one human error, or what was the point that this crash happened. So we'll have to wait and watch whether it was a technical glitch or weather conditions, or were both pilots caught unaware of what was happening on board. These are the questions only after the investigation comes out. But what we can make out of the preliminary pictures and images are that it was a high impact collision with the ground, and seems like the aircraft was in high speed as well. The chopper, the Mi-17 chopper cruising speed is around 140 knots to 160 knots, and that's around 300 kilometers per hour. That itself is quite a good speed for the crash. If at all they collided during the cruise speed or cruise altitude, it would be difficult to say that the rescue would be difficult, because the impact would have been so much that the life of people on board would be damaged, in sense the body would have taken severe impact. As we see, 14 on board, 2 people, initial information that they have passed away in the crash, and we'll have to wait and watch as to what exactly has happened. The army is doing the search and rescue operations. Considering this is a hilly region, the chopper would have taken off at a higher altitude and has come down now.
This is a absolutely horrifying story that we're bringing to you, ladies and gentlemen. There's a confirmation of 2 fatalities already on board that helicopter. The other 12 persons on board, their condition is not known at this point of time. There is a search and rescue effort that is on right now. Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat was on board with members of his family, including his wife. We are hearing Madhulika Rawat also on board that helicopter. We'll get a confirmation to you on their condition, as well as the other officers who are on board that helicopter, in just a short moment from now. What I can tell you is that not only are locals on site, police is on site, there are military personnel on site, trying to secure that particular area so that rescue and relief personnel can get to the injured persons quickly and shift them to a military base for treatment. But this is a worst case scenario. Nothing worse could possibly be imagined, for a visit of this kind. The Chief of Defence Staff was on an official visit. The Sulur Air Force Base in Coimbatore has Mi-17 V5 helicopters, and it is a helicopter from that base that is understood to have been involved in this particular, this very, very upsetting accident in which the Chief of Defence Staff and members of his family were on board, as were certain other senior officers, including a Lieutenant General. So we're awaiting more information on precisely what the condition is on those people. In the meanwhile, we've got more of these images that are coming out for you. We've got the Indian Air Force's tweet that confirms that Chief of Defence Staff Bipin Rawat is a passenger who was on board that helicopter. His condition will be confirmed to us in just a short span of time from now. There's a lot of speculation that's going on social media at this point of time, but we will not be speculating. I will only report to you what is confirmed to us by our reporters on the ground. There is absolutely no hurry to get something wrong. We will only report what is completely confirmed here on India Today. We respect our military forces, we respect our defense personnel, and their families will be watching this with a great deal of with a great deal of anxiety, because their loved ones have been on board that helicopter. So I promise you that we will not jump the gun in any effort whatsoever. We will only give you corroborated information by military personnel on the ground. Akshaya continues to be with me. Ashish also continues to be with me. I'm going to try and get in more of our reporters in on this story. I'd like to ask our producers to bring me Sandeep Punithan, our managing editor from India Today magazine, also in on the phone line or on or live in a moment. Gaurav Sawant is going to be with me in a moment as well, as we take forward this coverage non-stop on this story. Akshaya, Any further information? 2 people confirmed dead, identities not being put out. Even though we do have that information, we're not putting it out right now. We're waiting for a formal word from the police and the military personnel on the ground. What's the latest that you can confirm to us, Akshaya?
Well, we have got a passenger list of 9 people confirmed who were on board from Delhi to Sulur and further from Sulur to Coonoor, where the accident happened. It happened in the Nilgiris hills. And from the visuals that we've got so far from our sources in Coonoor, we can see how a lot of the local administration has come forward to help with the military operations that is underway there. Rescue operations are on full swing. We also see that the local collector and other senior officials also on ground, and immediate response was from the people who were living in and around the area. And we can see that the entire crash has led to a huge fire accident there as well, which further made it very difficult for the people to go inward and immediately help these people in the accident. But several of them have been taken out of the crash spot, is what is being told, and seriously injured people, all of them are very critically injured, and most of them have been rushed to the Wellington hospital right now, and further search rescue operations are underway. And from the visuals, we can very clearly see ships. It is a very high altitude area where this accident has happened, and also even from the kind of situation that is there, we've been told that the weather conditions have been really rough. In and around Coonoor, there has been a lot of foggy areas. So it's still unclear as to what really panned out leading to these kind of an accident, because, these are expert pilots which we're talking about, and especially with such senior officers on board, the kind of precautions that would have been taken is really high. But we're still uncertain on what really went wrong. And right now, even the Air Force has sent out a release wherein they've confirmed that the Chief of Defence Staff was on board, and also they said that proper investigation will be done, and ascertain on the cause of the accident will also be done, and only then will they be able to give out the proper details. But at the moment, from the list of passengers which is being stated in, we've been told that the Bipin Rawat's wife was also on board. It's a very, very, very tragic scenario which is panning out. Fingers are crossed that people from the spot of.
Akshaya, I'm just going to ask my cameraman to bring the camera this side for a moment, because we have a flight manifest. Okay, we've got a flight manifest of the flight that carried Chief of Defence Staff and his team from Delhi to Sulur near Coimbatore earlier this morning. Now, we're not releasing this as an information of the people who are on board, just to make absolutely sure that some of these people were on board the helicopter that has crashed. This is the list of people who are flying from Delhi to Sulur. I want to make it absolutely clear, from Delhi to Sulur, not in the helicopter crash. 9 of these people, among the 9 of these people, some of them, including the Chief of Defence Staff, his wife, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat, as well as his staff officer, Lieutenant Colonel Harjinder Singh, were on board the helicopter. We don't know if any of the other names you see in this list are on that helicopter, but a total of 14 people were on board that helicopter. 2 people have been confirmed dead at this point of time. We will only be releasing their names once we get more information on a confirmation from the police or the military personnel on the ground at this point of time. But I just wanted to tell you that this is the flight manifest that has come out of the flight that carried the Chief of Defence Staff and his team from Delhi to Sulur in Tamil Nadu earlier today. You also have the defence advisor to the Chief of Defence Staff, as well as other senior officers who were on board this particular helicopter when it crashed in Coonoor. So that's the information we have right now. We're also breaking that the Defence Minister has just been briefed. He's just been briefed by the Indian Air Force and the Army about this crash. He's just got the latest debrief on this particular crash. We're told that Rajnath Singh has asked for a minute-by-minute update mandate. He's monitoring the situation from Delhi at this point of time. Remember, Parliament is in session, and therefore this information is of an extremely sensitive nature. Rajnath Singh, the Defence Minister, the National Security Advisor, the Prime Minister, the Home Minister, all are completely plugged in on this issue. We can also break that the Prime Minister has been briefed on this particular issue. The Prime Minister and Defence Minister have both been personally briefed on this issue. They are on their phones monitoring the situation as it unfolds. This is a story that involves the country's top military officer, ladies and gentlemen, and his wife, Mrs. Madhulika Rawat, who were both on board that helicopter. There are all kinds of conjectures and speculations circulating on social media, but here on India Today, we will only bring you the facts. We are told the death toll number is likely to go up. We are expecting a confirmation on that in just a moment, but the facts as we know them right now, and they will change, is that 14 people were on board that helicopter. 2 people have been confirmed dead. That number is likely to go up in the next few minutes once we have a confirmation, but we do know that